Welcome to Thoughts on Prepping. This is my 3-month check-in. I figured it would be a nice idea to check on the status. My timeline for getting what I wanted done was 3 to 5 months, so I'm certainly not finished in 3 months, but I thought it would be interesting to go through what I have done and haven't done. So I had my goals on the left here. The one thing that I did not adhere to is not spending a fortune. I spent in 1 month close to $800. And so once I realized that, I decided I was only going to focus on skills and not spend any money, or as minimal as possible, because that was a real shock. Especially since this, my little motto for this channel is, you know, preparing your thoughts, not just your gear. So I have enough gear now. So on my to-do list on the right, this is what I had originally set out for myself. So one was find out what I already have, and I found a huge amount of stuff. And the only other place I need to really check out is the garage. We have a big loft back there, and I really need to get up in there and find some stuff. I did find a lot of stuff up there, but I really need to go through some more stuff, and then I think I'll be done. And then I wanted to keep a list of things to just have with me that I need, and then as I see things along the way, I would, when I'm running errands and stuff, I would buy a few things. I haven't made a list. I went sort of project-based, where I decided I would do the car emergency kit and only do that. Putting together some stockpiles of food, and so that's obviously I spent a ton of money on that, and then I didn't procrastinate. I was really happy about that. So then I've got a few things to check in here. So for my car, I'm pretty much finished with the car kit. There's a few odds and ends left. I don't have a tarp, but I'm calling it finished. For the bug out bags, I have a pile of crap next to a backpack waiting to be assembled. And so that's still going to wait. It's, I think, my impression after looking at so many things over the past 3 months is that the bug out bag seems to be the big hurdle that people have to get through. For the EDC / get home, I'm finished with that. It's good enough. And bugging in, I've started on getting these things together. I also researched, I wanted to do some interesting things with pots, terracotta pots, where you can get candles and get to dissipate some heat into the air. I thought that was really interesting. So now air travel, so I fly all the time. I'm pretty good with that. Essentially what I had to do is just duplicate my EDC get home bag and make it TSA compliant. For the ladies, I did a presentation on that. I did a video on that, and I'm perfectly finished with that. And then Pats still haven't done those. So for the car kit, I decided not to go with keeping oil and spark plugs in the car. I have a hybrid. I wouldn't know how to change a spark plug at all, and it sounds like it's more complicated than I would ever want to deal with, and I don't want to blow myself up. I haven't broken down, so I haven't really practiced any of that. I do need to still learn how to change a tire, and I believe that's just something I have to sit down and do. Get someone to help me and just run through it. As far as jump starting the car, I'm not brave enough to let my car run out, the battery die. Fuel, I had a question about keeping a can of gas in the car, and I decided not to do that after talking to people and looking at a few videos. It's not a good idea, so I just have a 1-gallon can. And like I said, my car's a hybrid, so I get 50 miles, 400 miles on 9 gallons of gas. And so if I walk somewhere and get a gallon of gas, I should be fine. And then getting gas if there's no electricity. Basically, I've determined because you can't get gas from a gas station when there's no electricity. I'd have to siphon it from somewhere. I just, it might involve stealing, and I hope it doesn't. Maybe an entrepreneur will be set up some gas cans to sell or something. Who knows? Okay, so now for my to-do, I said I would get out the manual and find out what parts are needed, and the manual was really crappy and wasn't helpful at all. I did get my car serviced, and actually I read the manual while I was waiting for the car, and so that's all fine. I haven't learned how to start or change a tire. And then research local areas for area for potential sources of fuel. I haven't done that yet. So bugging out, essentially with this deciding whether you're going to get to your relatives or stay with your community, I decided that it was just that I'm not going to know if I think about it, till the cows come home. I'm still not going to know once I'm presented with that situation. And then to do figuring out a walking route. I did figure out a walking route to get to water. There's 2 bodies of water near me, one to the east, one to the west. But as far as walking to my relatives, I haven't done that yet. I do, as far as researching more options about a good bug out location, we have friends about 100 miles north of here who are very well situated and function very independently, and so that's where we would be going if we have to. But again, walking there would take quite a while. I have not assembled bug out bags. And I did talk to my aunt about this a little bit, and the conversation started to open up at Thanksgiving, but then somebody distracted us, and I was really disappointed. But because she's been living here where Mount St. Helens exploded and there was an earthquake, she's definitely on board with having a plan. The dog, I didn't do anything for that poor guy. But I did get him microchipped. He has a pet license and all his shots are done. So he's all happy and healthy. Air travel. I had this thing about getting a tactical pen, and from what I researched, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and so I'm just not going to deal with it. It's too much. I have to minimize my stress when I travel all the time, and I'm not going to put myself through that. Learning how to protect myself with a regular pen, maybe not. I have carry-on only, and I have essentially EDC get home stuff that are TSA compliant in there. The last time I went through this presentation, I forgot to mention onebag.com. It's a really great website. It's not prepping based, but it talks a lot about putting as much stuff as possible, getting enough stuff in a compact way, so that you can only have to take one bag when you're traveling. But it has a lot of resources, where to get solid versions of things that are normally liquid, like shampoo. I highly recommend it. Bugging out from a hotel. I haven't really done much with that. I started to, but then I have all new places to go, and I've been traveling I traveled most of December, and it was a whirlwind, so I need to start that again. Buying extra food and water at my destination. I always have extra water, and I always bring protein bars, but that's about it. So I'm not sure what I would need. I sort of, like I said, there's room for improvement, but right now that's what I do. Preparing the body. Naturally, I didn't do a thing. I've really, if I start now and really do it for 2 months, I should be fine. It's just obviously, as everybody knows, getting started. And morale, same thing with making the decision to bug out. I'm not going to know until, these things, I know what I like and what I don't like, what keeps me happy, what makes me want to rip my hair out. So I'm going to call this done. And then community, I haven't done a damn thing because I haven't been around. And the weapons, as you can see, the saving money is the biggest part of this. Unless I have money to buy these things, it's not going to happen. And then my eventual to-dos, this survivalism and bushcraft. When I first started looking at all of the prepping things and the videos, the bushcraft stuff sounded valuable, and of course it is, but I realized that I live in an urban environment, and a lot of, building stakes to pound in the ground just aren't going to work with a sidewalk. So I'm looking at specific things that people can use. Urban Prepper had a great suggestion about seeing what the homeless do and what their specific skills are, like cooking and things like that. So I've been looking at that a lot. And then lockpicking skills. That seems to be something that a lot of urban survivalists talk about, and I think it would be fun to learn. And instead of buying a lockpicking kit, especially because I don't want to spend money right now, I'm going to try and do it with paper clips and see how that works. I figure if you rely on these specialized tools and then don't have them, you pretty much don't know how to pick locks. So. And then fire starting and cooking with stuff you find. So people have been using penny stoves. I've seen that. Just punching holes in a soup can, things like that. Scouting out potential locations. So I live in a very industrial area. So there's train tracks. There are lots of trucks and trailers, and so there's a lot of places where you can hide or get gas or do things. And so I thought, okay, that's great. You have this infrastructure already set up. You can just, get inside one of those in a railroad car or something. But then I realized that it could be very dangerous. There's a lot of places to hide. There's a lot of possibility of being ambushed. So it would be something that, you'd have to be careful with. You don't have a clearing where you can see all around you if you're running around, a train, rail. I can't think of the word. Rail yard, sorry. And then I had talked to Guess in the water video about getting a water key, and I did get that, and I looked at how to use that. I'm afraid to go and actually practice because I'll get probably arrested or something. And so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this, and it's fun for me to sort of check in and also get motivated again. So thank you very much for watching, and please